Today was day 5 in Donna Adelson's trial, and if you had to pick one day that you were going to skip on the trial, this would probably be the best day so far because it was a very, very tedious day. We spent the entire day basically listening to phone conversations between Charlie Adelson and Donna Adelson, and then Katie McBanoa, and then Katie McBanoa's conversations with Sigfredo Garcia. So we just kept seeing the pattern of conversations after something would happen, right? After the bump was introduced, what exactly the communications were, and exactly as the prosecutor laid out, it would be Donna Adelson talking to Charlie, then Charlie talking to Katie McBanoa, then Katie McBanoa talking to Sigfredo Garcia, then Sigfredo Garcia back to Katie, then Katie back to Charlie. I mean, it was just all of this conversations back and forth about what was going on. And for a big part of it, Charlie was trying to figure out whether this is a policeman working undercover, a bump operation, tickling the wire, or this was actually a real gang member trying to extort them. So this is what you continually hear from the conversations. You're trying to figure out. At first, he's pretty sure, because why would somebody come over to you if he's a real gang member and without a disguise? Put on some sunglasses, put on a hat, put on a beard, put on a mustache. I don't know. Do something that can conceal yourself so that you're not easily identifiable from the person that you're trying to extort, which is a decent point. And also, he felt that the fact that this person wasn't really threatening them. He wasn't saying, if you don't do it, then I'm going to do A, B, C, and D to you. I'm going to kill this person. I'm going to murder this person. I'm going to beat this person. I'm going to break this person's kneecaps. There was no overt threats that were made. So that's another reason why he felt that this was not a real gang member trying to extort them. And also the fact that he kept stringing them along. Normally, he felt that if this was a real gang member, then it should be, you got 48 hours or else something's going to happen to you. Not call this number and then wait for a week. And then when you don't get a phone call back, then you send a letter in the mail or a text message. So it took them a little time. It took Charlie a little bit of time until finally he did figure it out that this was a police. And once they figured out that it was a police, they were all very ecstatic. They're all very happy. And part of the reason is they hear from the conversations that he was telling Katie that if this was a police, then it's a good thing, because then it means that they don't have enough information. They don't have enough evidence to trap anybody, right? They can't arrest anybody. And he was explaining on his theory how it is that if you can't place somebody at the scene of a crime, that means that you can't arrest them. Obviously, we see that that's not true. And some of his other ideas about how law enforcement and burdens of proof work in the legal system, which is one thing that he is not very familiar with. So he was wrong in all those accounts, which is why right now he is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Now, additionally, on his case, he actually may get a new trial because of the conflict that Dan Rashbaum had, but that's a different issue. Okay, but so we heard a lot of these conversations back and forth, really tedious stuff. Him back to Donna, Donna back to him, talking all about the bump and all of his different theories. And also, I think the more comical part was listening to all the code words that they were using, all this creative code, how they were all talking that nobody should figure out what they're talking about. So, for example, one of the times that he was talking to Katie McBanoa, Katie was giving him real estate advice, talking about properties and tenants. And they were trying to pretend that I guess Katie was looking into some properties for Charlie Adelson, and talking about tenants and talking about listings and pocket listings. And so at one point she was giving advice to Charlie, then Charlie was giving advice back about this property that they're talking about, all in code that nobody can figure out what they're talking about. Then also interestingly is that when Charlie was talking to his mother, Donna Adelson, and he was trying to say how he was talking to Katie McBanoa and without saying her name. So he was saying that he was talking to somebody who had relationship advice. They were seeking relationship advice from Charlie. I mean, if there's one person that you can think of to get relationship advice, would probably be someone who can't have a relationship or hasn't been in a relationship for longer than, I don't know, a month or two. I mean, that's the perfect person. So he's talking to Donna about this relationship advice that he's giving to Katie McBanoa, all this using code, obviously, so nobody should figure out what they're talking about. And then eventually Donna calls the bump herself. At one point, Charlie calls the bump, Donna calls the bump, and Donna's trying to figure out, and Donna keeps saying, I don't know what you're talking about, and, trying to play that card. Although what you are seeing from all of these conversations is the fact that there is a pattern of communications, like the prosecutor laid out. There's always this pattern, and that this is not how innocent people would respond. This is just not, like innocent person. Like she even says, she spoke to 10 to 12 friends. This is Donna Adelson talking one of the wiretaps that I think she was actually talking. No, she's talking to the bump. when she said this, talking to the undercover officer, where she said that she spoke to like 10 or 12 of her friends and they're trying to figure all this out, and you have the wrong person. If you're talking to 10 or 12 of your friends, guess what they would tell you to do? To go to the police, right? They would tell you to go to the police. So, I mean, it's really just really solidifying the prosecutor's case in this case to show that this is not how innocent people act. It's not how innocent people act when they have this type of bump introduced to themselves, introduced into the scenario, into the situation, and yeah, there's a lot of code. And then once they find out that it's the police, that's what like Charlie figures out. Okay, this must be a police. They're not threatening us. They're not wearing sunglasses and hat, so it must be that there's nothing to worry about. And that's really kind of how they go on with their lives until they're arrested. So. Also, I thought that one other part that was a little comical was the fact that every time Charlie Adelson would talk on the phone to his mother, he would say, we really shouldn't talk on the phone. Let's find out a time to meet. But then he would go on and have a half-hour conversation using this brilliant code that he came up with and that Donna would use. So probably should have taken his own advice to not talk on the phone. But and then sometimes he would call the landline, but the problem is that his phone is tapped. So or Keenan McManus' phone is tapped, so they were still able to hear what was going on, and so a lot of the ideas really didn't pan out. But he just couldn't stop. He couldn't shut up. He couldn't stop talking, and that also really did him in, and is most likely going to do in his mother as well. But there's a lot of other evidence here as well to implicate Donna Adelson that she was actually part of this conspiracy. So a very tedious day, a very long day, but not a long. I don't think you want me to recap all of those conversations. They were really hard to listen to, but you get the point. They're all talking in code. They're talking one to another. This pattern of communication that the prosecutor laid out, and it's just solidifying the prosecutor's case. So just for the end of the day, it was a long day, and I just have to put in this tweet to show you guys because, why not end it on a cute note? So I put out, we also learned from Charlie Adelson today that 99.9999% is basically 100%. That's a quote that he actually said in his in one of the wiretaps. And so therefore I say, however, if he accounted for the 26.3% reduction of Hank Brennan, it would throw the whole calculation off and you would just be left with one Wisniewski. So that was the comment that I put out. And then Mark Bedero had a great response saying, Martin. And I said, what do you want from me? It's been a long day. So that was really, it really was a long day. What can I tell you? It's a long day, which is good for you because it was a short recap because there's really not much to talk about in this case that happened today. So we will see you all back here tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get, I think he's gonna, this is Sergeant, I forgot his name already at this point. But this is the person who, FBI agent who conducted all of this, the wiretaps. He's going to continue on the stand tomorrow, and then maybe we'll move on to some other witnesses. Hopefully, maybe even Charlie Adelson will hear from himself. Maybe he'll explain how this is all one big extortion, and who knows? We'll see who else they have on tap for tomorrow. So tomorrow, 9 a.m., we're going to be continuing with the live stream of Donna Adelson's trial for day 6. We'll see you all back here tomorrow. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. It's free. It really helps out the channel a lot. So if you're watching this, you enjoy the videos that I'm putting out, help me out by just subscribing, and really helps the channel, and we can spread the word easier and faster to some more people so that they can enjoy the same legal analysis and content that we're putting out here at Brother Counsel Studios. So back here, BCU, Brother Counsel University, tomorrow, 9 a.m. for the live stream. We'll see you all then. Have a great